Hey, what's up, listeners? Welcome back to AIBiz, the show where we talk about AI in the real world. No fluff, though thought leadership buzzwords too. Just what actually keeps your business alive. I'm your host, Sayan, and today we are getting into a topic that's, I think, kind of low-key the biggest business risk nobody wants to admit that they're still winging: security. Because here's the uncomfortable truth: security isn't just an IT issue. It's more than that. It's, I think, about human behavior. And with AI in the mix, you would know a lot of deepfakes, voice cloning, perfect lies that look and sound legit. So today the game has changed completely. And if your brain is the attack surface, then training can't be boring compliance slides anymore. It has to become instinct. Today's guest is Robert Siciliano, the media's go-to cybersecurity expert, a private investigator, CEO of Protect Now LLC, creator of the Strategic Human Firewall, and someone who has spent years translating cyber threats into straight talk survival skills. He's been on basically every major network. So yeah, this episode is going to feel like a masterclass, um, mixed with a watch your back reality check in the best way possible. So welcome to the show, Robert. It's a pleasure to have you here with me today.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Likewise, Robert. And I want to start here because I think this hits me personally. Also, while prepping for this episode, I realized most of us don't think about security until something feels off. It could be well about your anxiety, your heart rate that spikes for a second, that split second where your gut says, "Wait, what?" And now, so with AI in the mix, those moments are, I think, getting a little bit harder to read. It's not just you know um, hackers, right, disguised anymore. It's the voices we recognize, actually the names we trust. So I want to start with the fact that when you say security is personal, what does that really mean in 2025, almost 2026, especially now that AI can sound like our boss, our bank, or someone we love?
Yeah, so all security does, in fact, begin with, you or me, the individual, right? It begins with our physical being. It begins with our understanding and recognizing risk. It starts off with physical security. Okay, so your ability to fend off a physical attacker is personal security. It's self defense, right? Understanding how to avoid and remove yourself from a dangerous situation is, in fact, personal security. Okay. Now, that dangerous situation can be obviously in the physical world. It's when you're walking down the street. It's while you're at home, and it's potentially when you're vulnerable while you're sleeping. Do you have your doors locked? Do you have a home security system? Uh, do you have layers of protection to prevent the bad guy from choosing you, from choosing your home, right? That is personal security. But then when you think about security personally, right? I don't know if it gets more personal than your identity, right? So your identity is in fact who you are, and the security of your identity, and somebody who could potentially pose as you and or be you either in person or online. If that was to be exploited, well, so would your personal security. And so when we as individuals, when we look at security from the personal point of view, from the personal standpoint, we are more vested in security. We want to engage in the process of recognizing or preventing risk or mitigating risk if we understand and recognize that all security fundamentally does begin with us. It is personal to us. And as an employer who's responsible for providing security awareness training, it is in your best interest to have the employee recognize their own security first, because we are, in fact, selfish or self interested creatures. And then from there, they'll do their job regarding security of the data in which they are entrusted with much more effectively.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's a great way to, I think, start with, and that also makes me think about yeah, the workplace as well. I think a lot of employees don't actually feel safe, not physically necessarily, but I think also the emotional aspect of it. They're kind of bracing all the time, for the blame, for that what now, email. So I want to go into the next layer, Robert, of particularly fear in organizations. And since you also talked about the human blind spot, so I wanna go next into why do you think fear spreads so fast inside a company, even when the leader's intention, well, maybe it isn't about fear at all, right? Um, but then what's really causing that ripple effect in rooms where that safety should be the default anyway?
I think it's because of the nature of security awareness training today generally revolves around check the box forms of compliance, which usually means phishing simulation training. And while phishing simulation training is e- essentially the de facto security awareness training that's being offered today, and while phishing simulation training certainly does provide value to solve the problem of phishing, it doesn't necessarily address the individual, their worries, their fears, their concerns, or even their own personal security for that matter. And the issue that I see or hear more often in regards to phishing simulation training is that for many, they kind of feel stupid when they get it wrong, you know? And the impact or the result of getting it wrong often means that employees can get in trouble. That after a certain period of time, if they've got it wrong so often, there are negative repercussions to that. But I don't know that that training is actually solving the problem of, you know, my personal security, my worries, my fears, my concerns, my identity, my bank account, my spouse, my daughters, my home, my person. I don't know that phishing simulation solves those or even addresses those problems. So I think that
Right.
we've gone this far with phishing simulation training, but if there's ever any chance of making it that much more impactful, of it actually moving the needle, I think that at some point it needs to address the individual, and I don't see that's happening.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I think this is exactly by I'm too smart to get scammed. I mean, it's a dangerous brand to carry forward because um I think scam isn't dumb anymore. It's sort of engineered, right? It's personalized. It's basically persuasion at scale. Robert, with everything, now I wanna zoom out a little bit and talk about the kind of technology that we have at hand, right? So there's um deep fakes everywhere, right? So you have the technology where you can just face swap things, right? Objects, people, images. So from that point of view, where you're using that technology almost to you know, I mean neglect the truth. Think about the worst case scenario, right? Maybe something's real on social media, but people are using oh, this is AI generated as a defense to protect that, right? So how do we as an individual move from awareness to actual behavioral governance?
I think it first begins with understand and recognize that these tools are in fact being used against us in a number of different ways. And we know that these tools, AI, face swaps, and voice cloning, these tools have been used by political operatives to sway elections. We all know this at this point, right? We also need to know that these same tools have and are being used against us individually, posing as family members, a daughter who's being kidnapped, a loved one who's in distress and needs to be bailed out of jail. Often and of course, the result to get us to wire money, bust out our credit card. send money via Bitcoin, and so on. And all of these various technologies, we're just getting started here. And if you were to go to TikTok and Facebook Reels and Instagram and start watching numerous videos that are generated using AI, some of these videos are they're perfect. They involve people, they involve animals, they involve machinery. And the videos themselves look as realistic as it's possible to do. And the videos might have millions and millions of views, and the viewers, only a few of them know that it's actually AI generated content. And so as the technology is continually rolled out, and as the consumer is failing to even acknowledge that even in the subject line or the description of the video, that it is in fact, and most of the time it does actually in the description say that it's AI generated, based on the commentary, most people aren't even acknowledging that aspect of it, which is really scary. And you can't possibly blame AI for this. The consumer does not spend any of their own time, energy, or effort to recognize real or fake for that matter. They just go about it and share it and they comment on it. And in some cases, they're afraid of it in some cases. Some in cases, they applaud it, not even knowing that it's real or fake. So
Yeah.
the public in general is unfortunately very clueless, and the bad guys know this, and they're taking full advantage of this already.
Yeah. Yeah, and I have an example. So this was all over the news here in India. So what happened was, so somebody had ordered a tray of eggs, right? I mean, from uh, I think it was Instamart or whatever that was. And then so one of the eggs, so it was broken, right? And so the guy used and it's scary how accurate generative models like Nano Banana Pro. I mean the Pro model that Google is offering with Gemini is. I mean it's crazy accurate. So that guy with a simple prompt, I mean he was able to come up with this generated image which showed that all the eggs were basically broken, right? And he got the full refund, by the way. So with all these things happening, right? And this is not just one case, Robert. I think I've read about this a lot, happening with modern generative tools these days that are out in the market. So I think, right, it's not about drowning in tech to some degree. I think it's about building habits that make scams inconvenient. And we have been talking about how AI is helping the attackers, the lies, the deepfakes. Also, the thing that you mentioned, right? We as consumers are failing to understand the difference. But I want to go a level deeper into this and flip the script. Like, as in, where does AI help the good guys? I mean, what are the smartest users of AI right now to actually protect people, whether it's detecting fraud, spotting weird login behavior, or even catching phishing attempts before a human sees them?
There are wonderful technologies that have been and are being built by security practitioners, worldwide, that their entire motivation is to detect various anomalies in various systems worldwide, uh, looking for the telltale signs of potential fraud, whether it's with phishing, whether it's with voice clones or face swaps, looking for various behaviors conducted by various technologies and or humans that would result in potential fraudulent behaviors. It's all there at our fingertips. It's being deployed. It still does boil down to the human factor, because you can have numerous firewalls in place. You can have all the layers of protection required. But when the human element is exploited, ultimately, the human firewall is bypassed. That's when the bad guys are very successful. That's when they get in. What you can have all the necessary security in place, but the human element ultimately responsible for clicking that link, downloading that file, wiring that money. They're the ones that ultimately are being exploited. And so it is to the benefit of the security awareness manager, the CIO, the CTO, the CISO to engage in a form of awareness training that goes beyond just incorporating, again, phishing simulation training, utilizing the various AI tools that are at their disposal to mitigate risk. It's a matter of understanding that security awareness is a head-based concept, meaning I understand risk. I understand the various vulnerabilities that face me, and I understand the various tools that are at my disposal. However, security appreciation training is at a deeper level. It's heart-based training. It means that not only do I understand all these various issues and risks and tools that are available to me, but it matters to me. It means something to me. It's something that I want both personally and professionally. It's something that I want to and need to do something about. That's what security appreciation training is. And you can't do that with AI, right?
Okay.
That is a one-to-one or a facilitator to group form of discussion that addresses the human worry and the human fear, right? What prevents people from sleeping effectively? What worries them when they first wake up in the morning? And when you engage your employees in that at that level of security appreciation, they begin to change their understanding of the world around them, which ultimately changes their behavior and changes their habits. And by changing their habits, by changing their heart, you change their minds, you change their behaviors, you get them to see the world differently, and they'll do things differently.
Wow. I love that. I think that's the nuance a lot of people miss as an AI as a force multiplier, right? Not the threat itself. Um,
Yeah.
so Robert, I wanna end maybe this discussion with a question because I want it to be practical conversation to all the founders and entrepreneurs listening to this right now. Is that you talked about the training aspect, right? So how can leaders make this training, security training, specifically, not just painful, but actually fun?
Yeah. So, you know, I've taken a numerous forms of security awareness training myself, right? And while, a cartoon or a talking head or even an interactive, video that might involve some form of gaming can be, I guess, fun. I think that when it comes to this particular topic, I think we kind of have to go back to the basics. And I think we have to have an engagement between facilitator and group or audience or in learner that involves kind of like getting down to the day-to-day issues that we all face, the fears, the worries, the concerns, the issues that we face when it comes to identity, when it comes to password management, when it comes to the various physical interactions that we have with other humans over the phone, in person, online, via text, via email. And when you engage your people in that manner, y- you make it personal to them. And when you make it personal to them, it becomes interesting to them. We are a selfish or self-interested creature. We first and foremost wonder what's in it for me. And we first and foremost care about us first, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Physiologically, you need to care about yourself first, nourishing your body with good foods and fluids, getting a good night's rest. Basically having the physiological needs taken care of first and foremost. And when you do that, first and foremost, making it about them, it makes it fun for them. It's interesting to them, for them, and they wanna know more, they wanna understand, they wanna engage in the process. That is what I find to be the most effective way to get your employees, the learners, right? Those that are at the helm of your business, to effectively engage in a process that should be and is about them first. It's personal to them.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense to me right now. Also, the the gamification aspect that you talked about. I mean, that's real because I think it feels if training doesn't feel fun, right? If it feels like a punishment already, I think people mentally can clock out. But if it feels like a game with real stakes, then you've got the attention, right? And that attention is where I think behavior change truly starts. So, well, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation, Robert. And before we wrap off, would love to know where can people know more about your work and connect to you.
Certainly, I'm on all the socials, of course. If you were to search Robert Siciliano, Siciliano, I'm all over the web, and of course at my website, protectnowllc.com. Again, protectnowllc.com.
Perfect. This I'll include the links in the show notes for you, so you can check them out anytime at your own convenience. And with that, we hit today's mark on this practical and very insightful conversation, I would say, with Robert. And here's your mini challenge for the next 24 hours. Super simple. So I want you to pick one person you trust and then agree on a verification code word. Like, for example, if you ever get weird call or message that sounds urgent, right? It could be money. Any sort of emergency, right? You ask for the code word. No code word, no action, period. That one micro habit can stop a deep fake crisis before it starts. And it literally just takes 2 minutes for you to set this up. And for business builders listening to this right now, do the same thing at work, a verification ritual for any kind of password resets, payments, vendor changes. Make it normal because I think that's the motive that I came with today. Make it a culture, right? And if this episode hits, I want you to share it with one founder friend who still thinks security is really the IT person's job. And if you're enjoying AIBiz, I would recommend you to follow, subscribe, and drop a quick review because I think it helps the right people find the right conversation. All right, that's a wrap for today. Stay sharp, stay human, stay great. And I'll see you in the next one.